The following podcast has been rated PGN. Parental guidance is neglected.
Boy, it's been a long time since we've had a little father-son chat.
I am your father.
Father, if you can hear me, I failed.
Don't let your mother smell that beer on your breath. She'll take it out on me.
I'm here with my dad.
I know what you're gonna say, son. And you're right. You're right.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
I've abandoned my boy!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Parental Guidance Neglected. I'm Jackson Burns.
I'm Regan Burns. I'm his father.
That's my dad, who just almost missed my cue. Wow.
That's my dad.
Professional today.
Hey, do you hear this? Is that annoying?
I hear,
that's my notes.
I hear that.
If I'm ruffling my notes while you're talking?
Yeah, I can definitely hear that.
Okay.
I would probably try to avoid.
I'm not gonna do that. Do you see?
That's a good move.
If I hold up my notes, which is written on the back of my softball lineup, Does that annoying to the camera? That's probably not a good way to record.
I'd probably keep it out of frame if I were you. Yeah.
All right, keep that out of frame. All right, I'm still new at this. I'm still new.
Yeah, no, guys, we're still learning. We're still learning.
Let's be honest here. All right, what's the show, Jackson?
This is Parental Guidance Neglected PGN, where I sit down with my dad and we talk about movies. And other film-related, I guess, events in the case that one happens.
What's a film-related event?
Like the Oscars.
So should we start talking about the Oscars?
That's basically it.
We should probably talk about the Oscars now.
We should put our predictions in now, I think. Wow. I think I've seen enough of this year to get a lay of the land.
Okay. Here you go. You ready? Obviously, when we think Oscars, we think Chris Rock and The Slap, heard around the world. Mm-hmm. It's been, a couple months? 2 months? 2 months since the Oscars?
Yeah.
What won best film?
Coda.
Oh, okay. Coda did. What won best actor?
Best director? Oh,
director or actor.
Oh wait, was best? Okay, best actor was Will Smith because he gave that stupid speech.
Right. Who was best actor?
But best director was best director Jane Campion?
Yes.
Okay, but I didn't know that. That was a guess. That was a shot in the dark.
What did she direct?
She directed Power of the Dog. I know that.
Right. And who was the best actress? Radio silence on the PGN podcast.
Give me a second. Mm-hmm. Because I'm gonna know this.
Best
pick it up in a second.
Actress.
I've just completely forgot every movie that came out.
Motion picture. So here's my point. We're only 2 months removed, and you're actually pretty good. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, 100%. I forgot Coda. Like, if you had asked me this question,
I haven't even seen Coda. I would have been. Still. The reason I know that is because my friends just saw it. Like, so it's kind of fresh in my mind that was a movie that came out. But who won Best Actress? Why am I?
Wasn't it somebody for some film that wasn't that great? It wasn't Kristen Stewart. She was nominated for playing Princess Diana.
I'm gonna Jamie it.
It wasn't.
Jessica Chastain.
Oh yeah, for Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Yeah, for Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Which, by the way, not a great film. Good performance.
Yeah, I had not a great film. I had no need to see that.
But we're already forgetting. That's how important the Oscars are. We put so much on them, and within a few months, we're like, and you still haven't even seen Coda, the film that won.
No, I haven't.
Well, we all know. We know you don't like deaf people, so I mean, we all know that.
All I'm saying is that obviously I haven't seen Coda,
right?
But I love The Sound of Metal.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's weird that Coda was getting all this hype for being like this big like deaf movie, but
Coda
was a great movie with a great performance.
Yeah, Coda is about a family of deaf people. Sound of Metal is about someone starting to go deaf. So what you're saying is you like people who aren't quite deaf yet, but once they become deaf, then
that's not true because they have that whole family of people who are all also deaf that help him be acclimated.
Yeah, but the center of the story is a guy who's going deaf.
That's true. It is a story about a guy who's going deaf.
Yeah.
So I guess it is different.
Once they go,
I'm just saying.
When they go full deaf, you don't care anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. We're getting a little much here. A little.
Hey, listen. If you can't be honest on the podcast, where can you be honest?
Exactly. That's a great point.
You may not have seen Coda, but you did have COVID. Look at that segue.
I did have COVID. Wow. That was a great segue.
Yeah.
I made it out. We haven't recorded since I made it out. And I've moved out also. I'm back. As you can see, I'm back home.
Yeah, he's home. What's with the green? What's with the green background? You were feeling green today?
Well, if I have it off, I look like I'm in the middle of it looks like if I don't have the remote. Oh, here. Like if I turn it off,
let's see what it looks
flat.
Let's let the. Oh, that looks horrible. Yeah,
yeah.
The green.
So
is green background lighting our only?
There are
choice?
more options. The red.
Let's see the red.
The red seems.
Oh no! Now you look like a rape club in
that's what
Sweden
I'm saying.
or something.
I can do like a blue.
No,
does that
blue.
Do anything for you?
It's a little too Christmassy. A little too let it snow.
How about purple?
I don't hate.
Lighting just got weird.
Weird. I don't hate purple.
I'm keeping it a green. I think green was. Yeah, there we go. I think green was the best choice. I had it on a little bit of a lighter green here, I think.
Yeah.
There we go.
Why is your room looking more and more like a sex dungeon?
Why do you know what a sex dungeon looks like?
Welcome to the PGN podcast. This is Parental Guidance Neglected, and I'm Regan Burns. This is my son Jackson Burns, talking movies and pop culture and all that. So you're back home. I'm down in the basement right now. I guess this is the way we're doing it over the summer. I mean,
I don't know any other way to do it.
Should we try an episode one week where we are sharing a camera?
We can try. The only issue is I don't really know how to do that technically. I don't know how we do one because we'd have to actually film it with a camera.
So you're saying
I don't have a camera.
I've sent you to one of the best film schools in the country, and you don't know how to do a podcast with a 2-shot. Is that what you're saying?
Well, listen, we didn't take live podcast recording.
One year in, and he hasn't mastered a 2-shot. I don't know if I could do a shot.
I just have no camera. I don't have a camera to shoot it on.
Right.
Because we wouldn't be able to use. If there's no Discord, so we couldn't screen record. I'd have to have an actual camera.
So how long were you? For those who don't know, listeners, how long were you in quarantine at school?
I was in quarantine for a little. I think just under 2 weeks.
Okay. And
officially it was 10 days, but there was a couple of days on top of it where I was quarantining just for myself before I knew I had COVID.
Right. You were being responsible.
So it ended up being more than that. Yeah.
And how did finals go? Because you were quarantined during your final exams, or at least I think you got out for one or two of them at the end. But how did that go? How was that handled?
So finals week was the last week. I moved out on Friday. Okay, so if we're looking at the full week, Friday is when I moved out, and finals were happening pretty much every day for that week.
Even Friday?
Even Friday, I had a final in person that morning. I had my Spanish final that day.
Right.
So most of my finals were in person. Like there was a couple easy ones sprinkled in when I was in quarantine. Right. But most of the time, it was just the important finals I didn't have to do yet, except for my music class. I had a music final on Tuesday. I emailed him saying I couldn't show up. I said I had COVID. He said, perfect. Let me know when you're out of quarantine. We can do the test together. And I let him know. And that was 2 weeks ago. And I have not heard back from him still. So
you still haven't taken a final exam?
Yeah, but he has not gotten. I've reached out to him. He is not getting back to me, and that's on. If he doesn't want me to take the final, then that's on him, and I won't be punished for that.
Well, have you gotten a final grade yet? Have your final grades come out? Let's cut to the chase.
Some of them have. A few of the classes have.
Are you going to be a sophomore in college next year, or do I have to pay for an extra year? You're sure?
Nope. I've made it through.
I swear to God, if you make me pay for an extra year of college because you had the sniffles for a week, I am going to rail on you.
Don't worry. I've made it through.
You're gonna be a sophomore.
Yeah, but essentially, from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I had a period where I had to move everything out of the quarantine dorm.
I'm sorry.
I had like 3 or 4 finals to take.
Okay, I want to be clear here. I'm sorry. You said you had to move everything out of your dorm?
Out of my quarantine dorm. Quarantine dorm.
Now, who moved everything?
So yeah,
without your help, out of your regular dorm.
You were very kind while I was in quarantine. My dad came and he packed up pretty much my entire dorm because I couldn't move out because I was stuck in a different dorm. With COVID.
How many floors are on your dorm? Your first year dorm. How many floors?
4 floors?
And what floor? What floor is your room on, Jackson?
My room is on the 4th floor.
4th floor. And Jackson, is your room right at the top of the stairs, or is it way tucked back in a corner? My room is
pretty much as far away as you can get from the exit. Yeah.
And who insisted that he have his 18-ton record collection with him at college? Mm-hmm. And then who carried that 18-ton record collection back and forth up and down the stairs while you're hanging out in quarantine?
Okay, hanging out is a very generous term for being stuck inside with COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was how my quarantine went. I ended up staying in longer than any of my friends. It was pretty bad. My quarantine roommate packed up 2 days before I got out.
You were just waiting for that little thin line to completely disappear on a test.
Yep.
And you were honest. You could have cheated. I
could have cheated.
You could have cheated and gotten out, but you didn't. Even though you probably weren't contagious anymore. You stuck it out.
Oh my god, the line was so thin. You guys, it was, you could barely. I mean, you didn't even see it the first time I sent the picture.
Yeah, you were like, "This is." You were like, "I think this is still a positive test," and I'm like, "Is there supposed to be a line? Because I don't think I see one." But
ever so faintly, you can make it out.
My son did stuck with protocol and did not leave that room until he had a full negative test, and now he has brought it home to us, and we all have it. No,
that's not true. That is not true.
No.
Could you imagine?
Knock on wood. I, along with your mother and your sister, as far as we know, because we could have been asymptomatic, we have not gotten it yet. So,
yeah,
you got the antibodies. Look at you, lucky dog. I
can do anything. I'm a superhero right now.
You could just go around and lick anyone on the face and feel comfortable with it.
And I will.
I assume
I will.
I went to college. I assume that's what you did the last few days when you got out of quarantine. So now you've been home. You're settled in. It's good to have you here. You've had kind of a slow week, which is good. You've just been kind of chilling. Saw some friends. You and I went and saw some movies.
I've seen a lot of movies this week. Also, just by myself and with you guys and Mom and Kenny and all that.
Yeah, he's been catching up and taking some downtime. Our apologies to our listeners. We had to take last weekend off. It was just crazy. I moved back in. Yeah, Jackson moved back in. I was in Washington D.C. running a race. He was just coming off COVID, so we are trying very hard to come to you once a week, and we will do our best as we can moving forward.
We should be good for moving forward for at least a bit.
I would think so.
It's summer. I have way less. At this point, it's just going to be your fault. So if we're missing episodes, it's completely his fault, and there's no one else to blame.
I'm going to Texas for a race in a few weeks, and then I'm going to Notre Dame to do a race there in July. So, but we'll just plan ahead, and we'll
stockpile. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll stockpile it up. It's the PGN podcast. Once again, 2 generations, seeing the same films, old, new, and everything in between, and giving our thoughts. You know what? I think we have to go to the headliner first. There's no that we have to. The reviews for the Top Gun movie. First off, can we just say a big thank you to, I don't care who you believe in, God or Allah or whatever. We don't have to see the preview for Top Gun Maverick anymore. I feel like I've been seeing the preview.
I've been seeing the preview for Top Gun Maverick for about since I was underage. So
I almost went in with a slight bit of hatred for the film initially, just because I was like, I feel like I've been seeing this trailer for.
Every time I hear that, like, dong, I'm like, oh, come on.
And it's not their fault. It's not their fault. COVID
happened.
It was supposed to be out a couple years ago. But with that said, we went and saw Top Gun together. It's the first film you and I have seen together, I think, in a while.
Yeah.
We saw it with the whole fam. We saw it on the IMAX. That's the big
Packed
experience.
Packed theater too.
Packed theater.
Very
Although
energetic.
I don't think it was shot for IMAX.
It did not look like it was.
No, I don't think it was.
Yeah,
so,
I don't believe it was.
But I will say this. I do remember seeing films stretched out to fit the IMAX screen before, and you can kind of tell. You're like, oh, this looks a little distorted, like this was not shot on IMAX. I didn't get that at all with this. I didn't feel.
No, it didn't look distorted. It just didn't look as crisp as like something where I was like, oh, this like Dune or like something like that, where I'm like, this was made to be seen on this platform.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know what. For some reason I saw the new Jordan Peele movie Nope is been shot with IMAX cameras, which I found interesting. So because I tend to only want to see IMAX films if it was actually shot with IMAX cameras. Or at least part of it was. Sometimes they'll do that.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling this was not, but it was such a busy weekend at the theater, and it's hard to get tickets for it, but we did IMAX. It's Top Gun Maverick. I don't know if you guys heard about it. Everyone in the world has been talking about it. It's the return of Cruise and Jets. We also had the return of, I don't think it's a spoiler now, Val Kilmer is in this, Iceman. Which I actually did not realize he was in the film until we went in and I saw his name in the credits, and I was like, because I thought it was
same.
I thought it was just going to be a picture of him, but we'll get to his powerful appearance in the cameo in the film. Jennifer Connelly sitting in for Kelly McGillis, who cannot be seen anywhere. I don't think they even mention Kelly McGillis. That's
not once.
His love.
Not once, as far as I know.
Yeah. They obviously talk about. They do touch on why Meg Ryan is not in the film. Why she does not appear. That's Goose's son's mom from the first one. John Hamm stepping in here for Tom Skerritt as kind of the Top Gun instructor or school professor or whatever you want to call him. Miles Teller as the who your daughter, my daughter, your sister. That apparently is her new crush, because I remember when we walked out of the theater. And I said, Jackson and I, we're not going to discuss this film because we're going to wait till the podcast to say what we think. But what did you think, Killian? That's Jackson's younger sister. And she said, I think Miles Teller is hot. I just went, okay, so you...
Okay, you keep calling him Miles Teller, but it's Teller.
Teller, yeah, Miles Teller, yeah. You know how I am with names, Miles Teller.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so I'm glad we bought an IMAX ticket for you.
Yeah,
that was
really great.
That was her takeaway from the film. So it's the big movie this weekend. Critics have loved it. Audience reaction is through the roof. They're saying, this is it. This is the movie we've been waiting for. Jackson, were you waiting for it? And did it deliver?
So right off the bat, I didn't realize how much I forgot about the first Top Gun until the movie started. Because I think the first thing that I had to lean over and I went, was that... Did that guy die in the first Top Gun?
He leans over to me. In the first picture they show of Goose... Anthony Edwards, or not to mention the fact that I think in one of the very first scenes, Maverick is flying and he's like, Goose, talk to me, and he's looking out to the heavens, and then they show a picture of Goose, and then Jackson goes, is he dead? I'm like, oh my gosh.
I couldn't remember. I was talking to Mom about this, and she's like, you literally just watched Top Gun last summer. How'd you already forget this? And I was like, You guys kind of grew up with Top Gun,
right?
It was just kind of like, oh, there's an '80s action movie that was fun. That was fun to watch,
right?
So there was a lot that I forgot. I completely, and it wasn't even mentioned in the movie, but like you said, I forgot his love interest when the first one was even involved in the film.
She was the Kelly. She was the flight instructor. In fact, they almost mirrored that storyline, because he had met Kelly McGillis in the first one in a bar. And then the next day, she does that stroll in. I even noticed that they had kind of an homage, the same camera shot of like his legs walking in, and then all the students going, "Oh my gosh, that's the girl from last night." How embarrassing! Yeah. It was almost the exact same situation here.
That's a good homage.
Yeah, with Tom Cruise, of course, at the bar the night before. I won't tell you what happens, but they all obviously feel very awkward that they're now meeting him and finding out he's the instructor. But yeah, you didn't know Goose was dead. So right there. But here that's what's the beauty of this podcast, Jackson, is I saw that film and it was nothing but pure nostalgia. Like for
I was gonna say you had the big nostalgia trip.
Right. For your generation, it's like either they did not see the first Top Gun or their parents forced us to sit down and watch it. At one point said, "No, you're gonna watch Top Gun." But most of the kids your age, they may see this film, but I'd be willing to bet that a good 50% of them will go into it not having seen the original, and will probably be just like you, going, "Is Goose? Who's Goose? That's this guy's dad. What happened? Oh, there's bad blood." They're not going to know. All right, so
and once they did the little flashback shot of Goose being like dying, I immediately remembered. I was like, "Oh yeah, I completely forgot that was a part of the film."
Right.
But like I said. First things first, way less homoerotic than the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, they really toned down the gay undertones on this one, at least.
Yeah, there's not a lot of... anytime there's like that... The big thing with the first one is that guys were always getting in each other's face, like within like an inch, where it's like they look like they're going to kiss.
Very close.
And the only time that really happens in this film is with Tom Cruise and Miles Teller, and that's a father-son thing. So there's nothing.
Yeah, so
really,
you gotta write that off.
Yeah, there is a volleyball scene with a little twist. Obviously, I guess I should say another beach scene. I had heard that there was going to be a little more female skin in it, but nope, it was pretty much boys. Besides the one female recruit, but they didn't go there and have her in a bikini or a thong or anything.
They didn't really make any of the female roles that important either. I felt, I don't know.
Well, to be honest with you, they weren't that important in the first one. They didn't even have a female. Yeah. This one, they have a female fighter pilot. They didn't have a female fighter.
Two. One of them, I don't think has any dialogue, but the other one is a little more. Yeah, there was like another one of the flight school.
She didn't make the cut at the flight school. And then, I mean, Jennifer Connelly, who takes over as the love interest here, who's very good, and man, she looks fantastic. She's just looks as beautiful as ever. But even Kelly McGillis in the first one at least had some power. Here, Jennifer Connelly is, she's a strong female character, but she's pretty much just an owner of a bar who's kind of there for.
She's kind of a plot device, to some degree.
Yeah. This movie is mostly plot devices. By the way, that's a good.
It is a lot of plot devices, and I will say. Pretty much the entire final act is Star Wars.
It's the Death Star.
It's Star Wars.
Yeah. It's they have to.
They go through a trench.
Yes, there is a mission that involves them, pretty much having to detonate a Death Star. And
that was.
I will tell you this: as much as it felt like that Star Wars thing, I was like, this is a better conclusion than the first one, because the first one was kind of like, there's some controversy in airspace and a couple Russian MiGs have flown into our airspace and we're suddenly having to be deployed, and a couple of them get shot down, and then there's like, well, both sides are saying that this didn't happen. At least it was very concise on what the mission was.
It was. The mission was clear from the beginning, and they went through it. And I liked how they kind of flipped it on its head at the end, and we got a little extra with Miles Teller and Tom Cruise, because I think that was definitely needed.
I did not see that. I thought once the mission was there's when the mission is complete, whether they succeed or not, I won't say. There is kind of a secondary mission that they hadn't planned on. And that's probably the only thing in the film that I didn't see coming.
I will agree with you on that.
Mile away.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that. So but, what did you think? Because this is a film that was from your time when you were probably my age, I think.
Yeah.
When did Tom? Yeah. So this is something that's been a long time coming for your generation.
Top Gun was never one of my faves. I enjoyed it. I saw it as a kid. I thought it was fun. But it was never, for me, it doesn't have that long-term appeal. I wasn't chomping at the bit for Maverick, but I certainly knew I would see it. I will say this is a much better film than the first one. This is a very predictable Hollywood type fare, but it is shot unbelievably. I haven't done the research.
How did they film those plane scenes? I don't get it.
I'm almost positive that most of the shots of the actors are in actual jets. There's just someone in front of them. It's a 2-seater, and they go up and they have to swing their heads side to side, and I can do more research. I'm sure some stuff was CGI, but I'm almost positive I've read several articles that all of them were filming a lot of this in actual jets, which is
it's
because
impressive.
I got news for you. If you have me going through canyons or flying around or getting inverted in a F whatever jet, the last thing I'm going to be doing is remembering my lines or,
Yeah.
I always love that thing where they do that when they're in the cockpit.
Well, I almost wonder how much of it was ADR, because most of the time they have a mask on over their face.
It's all ADR. A lot of it's ADR. I guarantee you, because if they have the masks on, we can't see their mouths moving anyways. They can change.
They probably just go through the motions and then do the lines later.
Yeah, the lines are said. I always love when they do that thing where they turn and they put their hands on the glass. They're turning, trying to see where they're like, look out over it. Like, I'm like, I don't know, Jet.
Every time they do that, it makes me nervous, because I'm like, I don't want to push up on the only thing keeping me in this airplane. Stop doing that.
Please take your hands off the plexiglass window. That actually killed Goose when he ejected and had to.
Exactly.
And had to fly out. It moves along really briskly. None of it dragged. Honestly, my favorite parts were. I was a little choked up in the Val Kilmer scene, and I don't know if I was choked up because, it's Iceman and Maverick, but I think it was just because it was Val Kilmer, who is, was one of the great actors of my generation, and now they justify in the film why he can't speak very well. And for those who don't know, Val Kilmer has been very ill for many years and has pretty much lost the ability to talk, and has gone through multiple surgeries, and so they kind of justify why he has the physical problems that he does. But I got really choked up in that scene. Again, it's acted really well, but I think it was more just the fact that I was seeing Val Kilmer probably on camera for the last time. And I'd say the other thing that that kind of surprised me is, for the final act of the film, I'm not going to say who makes it and who doesn't, but there's going to be a scene on the deck where they're all high-fiving and hugging and thumbs-upping, and it was very emotional. It was kind of like, because you don't see movies that are quite that unapologetically formulaic and work. Any part of me that would have been like, this is sentimental, manipulation, and it is, but when
110% it was.
100, but when you're seeing actors like Miles and Cruz, and they're 110% committed. Our audience that we were with cheered, and I cheered a bit, and.
The audience was great, and that made that movie a lot more fun.
Yeah. It is. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it is in some ways the perfect Hollywood film. Now,
I see what you mean. I see what you mean with that. It's one of those things, I know it's stupid to say, it sounds cliche, but it has a little bit of everything for everyone. Visually, it is a lot of fun. Nice little tribute to Tony Scott at the end, who helmed the first one, and everyone loves the film. The only reason I'm not grading it a little bit better is because it's a little bit plug-in. It's like cue sing along in the bar, cue training, cue Maverick showing up. I think you and I Beach
both.
Scene.
I think we both know the final shot. We know who was showing up, to quote unquote possibly save the day. There's a little paint by numbers to it. Get the motorcycle scene. But it's all done so well. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon and go Top Gun Maverick. What a film! But it is definitely a must-see. It is definitely a must-see on the big screen. It is executed perfectly. And on my scale of letters, it's getting a B+. I can't quite go A.
That's okay. Before I give you my my score here out of 10, because that's the scale that I use.
Okay.
Can we both agree that Tom Cruise and Jennifer Connelly have the chemistry of that's non-existent? I don't think they worked well together.
I thought they were okay. I'll give it to you.
I didn't feel that attached to the two of them.
I will agree with you. It wasn't like Sparks, but I wasn't like I could never see the two of these together. You know what? I will give this film credit since you mentioned kind of chemistry. I feel like in the first Tom Cruise Top Gun movie, and maybe even some of his earlier films, we all know how short Tom Cruise is. He's not a tall. He's very short. I don't know, Jamie. Yeah, Jamie, look up how tall he is while I'm saying this.
I got it. Yeah.
He's short, but I feel like in the first part of his career, I knew he was always on an apple box. You know, like any scene.
5'7".
He's 5'7". So I always got the feeling that he was. You could tell that he was not as tall as. Like I bet if we go back and watch Top Gun, him and Val Kilmer. I know he's a little bit shorter than Val Kilmer, but I just feel like he's apple boxed all the time.
Oh, for sure.
He's shorter than everybody in this film, and he's.
There were some wide shots with him and Miles Teller where I was like, he is towering over you. Like,
I know.
The Eiffel Tower.
Yeah,
that is crazy.
They don't shy away from wide shots that show just how teeny Tom Cruise is, and I think he's shorter than Jennifer. Look up how tall Jennifer Connelly is, Jackson. I'm gonna bet Jennifer Connelly is 5'8". That's my guess. He's 5'7". I'm gonna say she's 5'8".
She's also 5'7". The same height.
Oh, all right. Well, they have lifts. They had lifts in him then, because I think he looks like he's an inch or two taller than I was like.
He does.
But I agree. The chemistry was not great with them, but she's a great actress. He's great. So I didn't cringe during any of it, but I wasn't like, wow, sparks are flying. But I don't really need that in a Top Gun movie anyways.
All right. So anyways, Top Gun, Maverick, 5 out of 10.
Wow. I think that's a little harsh.
It's 5 out of 10 is impartial.
5 out of 10 is.
I don't think
5 out of 10. That's a 50.
Impartial. It's middle of the road.
If you got a 50 on a test, you failed.
Yeah, but the American grading system makes no sense because the 50% is like half. It's like middle of the road. Would
you say you only enjoyed half of that film?
No, that I wouldn't say that at all.
I'm gonna talk.
I would say that I was impartial on it. I didn't like it. I didn't dislike it.
I'm gonna talk you into a 7. You're a 7, right? Probably a 7.
No shot was that a 7 movie. Unfortunately, that was not a 7.
6.5. It was probably
6.5.
A 6.5. A 6.2.
It was not a 6.5.
6.2.
I'm gonna stick with a 5 for now. With the middle of the road.
All that I got your back.
No, they had there was some great moments in there. It's just overall 5 out of 10.
What'd you think of Bob? I loved Bob. I love the fact there was a guy.
Bob was a good character. I wish they had used Bob more. I wish he was in it a little more. Yeah, because that was a good. He had a good thing going for him.
Yeah,
he's the only character that didn't have a call sign. I thought that was great.
And then there's Hangman, who is pretty much doing Val Kilmer, but I guess you had to have.
He's doing Val Kilmer.
He's the Iceman. Hangman is now Iceman of this one, so there has to be a little conflict there. We saw it all coming. There's a little twist. There's a little twist at the end that helps gives Miles and Tom Cruise a bit more to do that neither one of us saw coming, but everything else was pretty formulaic. But still, wow, what an enjoyable and visually fun film. Tom Cruise just has this down to a T. B+ for me, 5 for Jackson, but I'm going to be honest, it's about a 6.2, 6.3 probably for Jackson on that one.
Oh, man.
Would you tell friends then we'll get off Top Gun. Would you tell your friends to go see it? So one of your friends has just gone from school and going, oh, did you see Maverick? And you're like, yeah. And he goes, yeah, I'm thinking about going tonight. Should I? What are you telling
Which
him?
Which one of my, are we talking like my high school friends, or are we talking like the friends that I go to film school with?
Okay, let's say your water polo buddies from high school.
I would tell them to go see this movie.
Okay. Your film friends from college.
I would tell them that it's fun if you don't think about it too much.
Wow, you must have hung out. Would you hung out with stupid people? And you in high school, you're like,
no,
yeah, you guys go see it. It's got jets,
because
and volley and beaches, and it's a lot of action.
Because like the first class that you have to take in film school is like conditioning you to think about movies critically. So it's really hard to go into a movie and not, because it's like what you're supposed to do now. But my film school friends just are.
But you have to go into films sometimes and not be critical, or you're ruining. Don't you think you're ruining the experience for yourself sometimes? If everything you're going to go in and go,
I can't. This is what you paid for. I can't.
I didn't pick it. I wanted you to go into finance. Make some money for this damn family.
But yeah, that's what I tell my friends. Before we move on to our movie of the week, I do want to say I've seen a couple classic movies recently that I want to talk about.
I know. I teased that you. I know you saw Taxi Driver. What else did you see?
I did see Taxi Driver.
First
I also
time.
saw Goodwill Hunting.
Goodwill Hunting for the first time, and what else?
I saw. Well, those were the two big ones that I saw. I saw one of my new favorite movies of all time. I just watched the other night. I watched Meantime, Mike Leigh film. Just incredible movie. So well written.
I haven't seen that.
But I think you'd like it a lot. It's really, really good.
Okay, I did see Secrets and Lies, which he did, which I enjoyed. British director, right? This is a British film too. A bunch of British people talking in British accents.
It's about a family who is trying to, I guess, survive in London during the Margaret Thatcher, I guess, period of London.
I know you had mixed feelings about Taxi Driver and Goodwill Hunting. We have talked about those briefly, so I know. Just for our audience, everyone think about this. Which film do you think Jackson enjoyed more? Did he enjoy Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver about a psychopathic Robert De Niro in New York City 70s?
Just wouldn't take it.
Or did he enjoy the Oscar-winning screenplay by Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in Goodwill Hunting, which I believe earned Robin Williams an Academy Award as well, or at least a nomination, but I think he won for that. Which film, we'll give you 10 seconds, write down your answers, don't show them to anybody. Which film did Jackson enjoy more, Taxi Driver or Goodwill Hunting? Let's lock in those answers. We're locked in. Jackson, which movie was better, Taxi Driver or Goodwill Hunting?
In the moment, I liked Goodwill Hunting better.
Okay,
but I think that I'm gonna go Taxi Driver now because I've realized that I was kind of an idiot. I kind of pulled I kind of had a dumb brain moment with Taxi Driver where I completely misunderstood the entire movie on accident.
What did you misunderstand? I'm confused.
So
you didn't realize he drove a taxi?
No.
So he's a driver. Oh.
I thought he was in the passenger seat the whole time. No. So my main gripe with the movie when I first saw it was I hated the ending. I didn't like it at all.
Well, it's a controversial ending.
I wanted it to stop after spoiler alert, but come on now.
It's Taxi Driver. Yeah, no.
I wanted it to end right after the shootout. They did this whole cinematic thing where they were pulling out of everyone's faces. You got to see everyone either dead or shot.
Right. The last shot is De Niro bleeding against the wall, right? And the cops are running in.
It's that, but then they keep going down the hallway, and you get to see what's his face? Who plays the pimp? Why am I blanking on his name?
Harvey Keitel.
Yeah, Harvey Keitel, as well as a couple of the cops and stuff. And then the last shot is this big establishing of the cops at the scene, and everyone's around it. And we get a fade to black. And then the movie keeps going, and I was like, "What just happened?"
Right.
And it's Robert De Niro's alive, and he's like a hero now, and he got the girl, and it was so I completely misunderstood what they were trying to do with that part of the movie.
What did you think they were trying to do?
It seemed like wrap it up in a bow and tie it, and it seemed like the happy ending, where I was like, all that trauma. And just to have him be fine, and still be driving taxis, and he gets the girl, and everyone thinks it's okay.
Right.
That was my problem with it.
Okay.
But I've since looked into it more, and I've re-looked at it, and I realized that the movie kind of doesn't work the same without the ending. Mm-hmm. you lose a little bit of the message with the ending.
There are people who still to this day, even though Scorsese has said that it's not, and I sometimes argue this, I think sometimes Scorsese may have at the time and now has changed his mind. There are people that say that the last 5 minutes of Taxi Driver are in fact a dream that Robert De Niro is having as he's lying there dying in a pool of blood. Like this is,
I've heard that theory as well.
That this is what he is imagining, that he is going to be decorated as a hero, that that Sybil Shepherd is going to come back and profess that she would like to be with him, and he refuses her because he's like, no, you had your shot, and he continues on as a driver doing what he loves. And now Scorsese is saying, no, it was not a dream, that De Niro did not die and he kept living. My theory...
That's what I think. I think it's the second option.
I think that if that is the case, which Scorsese says, and then this is where he gets ambiguous, I think that he did survive and he is continuing, his life as a taxi driver, but those are fantasies in his head. He is imagining that Sybil Shepherd will as he's driving through the streets, because the last scene is kind of blurry, and I think those are almost the thoughts going through his head. Peter Boyle going, you're a hero, and they're writing about you in the papers, and the Sybil Shepherd's come back to him. So I'm going, okay, if he survived, that still feels like a dream sequence at the end, whether it's not something that's happening to him when he's dead or dying. I still think it's something that he's imagining in his mind. We know he's delusional and schizophrenic. That's pretty apparent from everything he did with Jodie Foster and stalking Sybil Shepherd and then the assassination attempt. So I can't help but think that last 5 minutes is inside the deranged mind of De Niro, whether he is dead or dying or whether he survived and is now living that out in his head. That's my thoughts. Yours?
So I've talked to a lot of people about this, and I do agree. I think that he survived, but I don't think it's a dream. I think that these are real events that are happening in the real world, because I think that the last 5 minutes are in a way supposed to be a criticism of the way society treats people like De Niro,
right?
Where it's like someone who has this insane person who obviously, and look, this is something that I brought up in my review too. There's this weird phenomenon going on where like film bros will really put the character, what's his name in the
Travis Bickle,
his name in the movie,
Travis Bickle
on this pedestal, like he's this hero, and
right.
they're
really sick.
He's not
sick
a good
people.
person.
Right.
He's a sick individual who has this horrible moral compass. But the point is that the same moral compass that almost assassinated a politician for a woman
is now
ended up saving this, is now a hero.
Right.
Is now this hero that's being propped up.
No.
And that's what went completely over my head, because I was like, what the hell? They wrapped it up too nicely.
That's another theory.
I get it now.
It's another theory that sometimes it's a fine line between being an evil, doing evil things, and being what society thinks is a hero.
Yes,
exactly. I get that.
So it grew on me with time, and I think I just had a very knee-jerk reaction to being like, what just happened? Like that really, it took me out of it. But I get it. It just took a while for me to sit with it.
Right.
Goodwill Hunting. Should I talk about Goodwill Hunting for a bit now?
Yeah, if you want.
I
told you it's a movie that I remember enjoying, thinking it was a little sophomoric. It felt like a screenplay that two young guys would write, trying to break into Hollywood. I didn't think it was earth-shattering. I think Robin Williams carries the film. I think we both agreed. I think we both thought Ben Affleck was better than Matt Damon in it as far as performance goes. I don't think we quite bought Matt Damon in the whole Boston.
Yeah, I don't think I had a problem with Matt Damon, like performance-wise. I just think that Matt Damon they didn't write Matt Damon's character to be what they wrote him in a weird way. I just didn't buy it.
By the way, I think Matt Damon has a much better body of work now than Ben Affleck does. I mean, whether it be script choice or characters or whatever, but I think he's probably a better actor than Affleck.
Yeah, I mean, I got a little teared at the end. It's an emotional movie, but I mean, it's not. I don't think it's like this. The greatest film of all time, like some people will make it out to be.
Give Taxi Driver a number, and Goodwill Hunting a number.
For right now, I'm gonna give Taxi Driver a placeholder 7 until I rewatch. I gotta rewatch it again just because I feel like I missed too much the first time. And I'm gonna give Goodwill Hunting also a 7 out of 10. They're both good movies. I just don't think they stuck with me as much as some other films have. I guess some other classics that I've seen.
Interesting.
Especially, and I'll tell you, this is funny because I watched Dead Poet Society a couple months ago on accident.
Much better film than Goodwill Hunting.
I picked out the DVD thinking it was Goodwill Hunting, and it wasn't because I didn't read it. I just saw Robert Williams. I went Goodwill Hunting, and I picked it out.
Right.
Just leagues above Goodwill Hunting from many different standpoints, in my opinion.
I agree. Deadwill Hunting. Dead Poet Society, much better film. Yeah, you're wrong there. Taxi Driver's an A+, and Goodwill Hunting is a C+.
Yeah, I know. I have to rewatch. Taxi Driver.
It's a pretty damn good film. Speaking of 70s films, this past 2 weeks ago, again, we apologize. We're so sorry. We really are.
We're sorry, guys.
Don't we feel bad when we miss a show?
Sorry.
We miss a show.
We do feel bad.
I feel bad. We're like, we were supposed to do this.
Man,
but
it's okay though. We're making it up now.
Speaking of 70s films, it was my week to pick a classic that neither one of us had seen. And since it was the big anniversary of The Godfather, and I had read somewhere that Francis Ford Coppola had to fight to get the studios to allow him to cast Al Pacino as Michael Corleone in that film. I know there's also a TV show about the making of The Godfather, The Offer, with Miles Teller as well. So this is kind of a hot topic right now. Francis Ford Coppola knew Al Pacino from one film and some theater work, and it was a film that I had never seen called The Panic in Needle Park. It's from 1971. Made a little bit of a splash at the Cannes Film Festival. Al Pacino and Kitty Wynn are the stars. It was produced by now passed author Dominic Dunn. It has a lot of little cameos in it that I didn't realize till I saw it. Paul Sorvino's in this as a John momentarily, who obviously you know from Goodfellas and many other films. Raul Julia, who I believe also is passed now, but won an Oscar for Kiss of the Spider Woman. It's The Panic in Needle Park. It's only about an hour and a half.
Short.
It is probably one of the weirdest edited films I've ever seen. One of the things I noticed immediately about it is that it feels like a film that they're trying desperately to cram into an hour and a half. Like some scenes just cut. Like some scenes are literally about 10 seconds long.
They come and go.
They're just. It's very weird. So it throws you a little bit, but it didn't ruin it for me. It focuses on a part of New York City in the 70s, nicknamed Needle Park because of all the heroin addicts and pushers and users that hung out in that area. The panic refers to the state of the streets when there is a shortage of heroin. They call a panic when the supply chain is not coming in, and you see the desperation and the ends that these addicts will go to either score drugs or not. I enjoyed it. It's a film not without some flaws. It's a very low budget film. I will say it is the thing I took away for the reason us watching it. It's hard for me to imagine Francis Ford Coppola watching this movie and seeing Pacino play this heroin addict, and he's really good, and go, that's my Michael Corleone. Like
that's Michael Corleone. It's strange.
That's the guy that I have to be the young straight military guy who turns into the diabolical crime lord of the Italian mafia family.
Yeah, it's interesting. I will say, if I had seen this movie in 1971 and I had to put money on which of the actors would go on to be one of the greats, it would without a doubt be Pacino still.
Yeah.
He stood out amongst the rest. I don't think anyone had a bad performance.
No.
But he really, he knew what was going on.
There's a few scenes where he is running through the streets, and you can tell it's usually the ones where he's trying to score the best, where you can almost see the camera. I don't think it's choreographed. I think the camera just followed him, and he said, listen, I don't know where I'm going or what I'm doing. I'm just desperate. And there's scenes where it's like he's walking through traffic. He sees someone. Do you have anything? He's looking. You can see him looking and trying. What do I need? what can I go? How can I get money or drugs out of the situation I'm in right now?
Yeah.
It's funny too, is that Pacino in some ways has gone on to become a little bit, I don't want to say a laughing stock, but there was a point in his career, probably around Scent of a Woman, where, he went from being, the Godfather in Serpico in Dog Day Afternoon to, hooah and Heat. He was very over the top, and
yeah,
he played the devil with Keanu Reeves in that film, and he became a bit of a caricature of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I see this, it was so good to go, wait a minute, no. Serpico, Dog Day Afternoon. This guy there's a reason why he's Al Pacino.
I almost got a bit of a taste of his character in Dog Day Afternoon in this movie, too. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of the manic-y kind of side of things, where I was like, okay, that's where you kind of pulled from that.
Yeah, there is nothing about Dog Day Afternoon that make him think, like, there was never a point in Dog Day Afternoon where I went, he's a drug addict and that's why he's robbing a bank. He's definitely a drug addict in this. What do you think my biggest pet peeve of this film was? You know me. I'm your father. What do you know about me that I went, if they do that one more time?
Oh, it was the needles.
Needles.
He's terrified of
needles.
needles.
Oh, my God. There must be 50 shots of people shooting themselves up in this.
Well, you can't make a heroin movie without showing the needles.
But they're close-ups, Jackson. It's like you don't have to put a camera 2 inches from the blood.
That's the point, though. You're supposed to be disgusted because it's gross.
Oh,
it's
my
heroin.
God. I know, but you don't need 5 separate scenes of close-ups of we get it. We know what they're doing. Oh, and then there's a whole scene when there's the woman when she's got the baby in the room, and Pacino's overdosing, and she's got a John coming over. That got a little train spotty for me. It was a little. That was a lot going on at once. And the film is weird. It just ends. It just ends abruptly. A lot of stuff.
I like the ending.
I will
say I like the way it ended. I think that was I think they made a good choice on that part.
Is this a great movie or is this a great performance movie, or is it both?
This is a great performance movie.
I
think that it was. I think it was a great performance movie. I think that the movie had a point to make. In a way, it was like shining some light on what it's like to live this life, right. And I think they got that point across. I don't think this is like, it was a good movie, and Pacino really did really well. But it's hard to look at a movie, Al Pacino's first movie, and not focus on just Al Pacino.
Yeah,
both because he's phenomenal in this, and also because he's Al Pacino.
Yeah,
and I didn't know anybody else in this movie. I didn't recognize a single other person. So,
yeah.
But, I mean, I still think it was a good movie.
Yeah, Kitty Wynn did not really go on to do much more in Hollywood. She kind of went on and became a theater actress. She was big into theater. That was kind of what her career was based on. I think she's still with us, but I think she's all about theater. And then, a couple of familiar faces that went on to do stuff. But,
What do you think about the... sorry.
No, go ahead.
What do you think about the dog scene?
Well... I knew it was not going to go well. I didn't know it was. There's a scene where Pacino and his heroin addicted girlfriend. They're both addicted at this point. They as most addicts do. They would say they're getting cleaned up and it's time to make a fresh start. And they take the ferry and they go off of Manhattan and spend a day and pretend like, oh, we're going to turn things around. And they buy a puppy. I thought instantaneously Pacino's going to sell that puppy for heroin, or they're going to take the puppy back to Manhattan and it's going to get killed or stolen by one of their heroin addict friends. So I knew things weren't going to end good for the puppy.
Yeah.
I did not know it was going to end on the ferry ride back. I mean, that was, But again, that's part of this film. Feels like a little bit like,
would a dog just jump off a moving ship like that? Like, you think there'd be a little bit of instinct to be like, maybe I don't jump into the propellers of this boat. I
think it's a puppy. I think they're dumb. I think it's it didn't bother me. It just was I mean the second I said they're buying a puppy.
Yeah, I knew.
Two heroin addicts living in Needle Park are not gonna they can't even that did not end well. This is a performance film. Al Pacino, you can see the greatness just oozing out of him. His best moments sometimes are when he's not saying a word. He's
for sure.
You're just watching the manic inside him, the addict. I would love to know about the research he did to this, or if he hung out with these people, because he's got it. I mean, I don't know a lot of heroin addicts. I mean, besides Jackson's friends. So I'd be really curious to see. It is a performance film. It's a short, brief film. It's done very well. A little sporadic on the editing. So I'm going to give the film. I'm going to give Pacino an A. The movie Panic in Needle Park gets a B for me. Solid B.
And I'm going to go with a 6 out of 10 on Panic in Needle Park.
6 out of 10. I feel you're tough. I just feel you're a tough. I don't know about film school. I think maybe I need
you don't know. I we were rethinking this. I have to say the frickin' hoops I had to jump through to make this movie watchable for both of us.
Oh yeah, this is
okay. So
in my defense, before you tell it, I'm gonna let you tell it. In my defense, when I picked this film, I'm almost 100% sure that it was available on Amazon Prime. I said, let me look. I saw it on Amazon Prime. I said, okay, I know there's a way we can watch this film. But then I went back to Amazon Prime after we filmed it, and it said no longer available.
No longer available.
So
the
Jackson.
only place we could find it was for free on YouTube, but it was in the corner, like the corner of the screen right here,
right,
and surrounding it were shooting stars.
Not
the
just
whole film.
Not just shooting stars, like a dizzying
meteor
shower.
But it was going like this, like in a weird circle. It was dizzying, and you just couldn't watch it. So what I did, well, my dad said he was just going to watch it. He was going to put paper on the screen so he didn't look at the stars.
I was going to cover.
And I was like, "There's no way I'm doing that."
I was going to cover 3/4 of the screen, so I didn't have to see the meteor shower and just watch the upper left-hand corner on our laptops.
Yeah. So I what I did was I downloaded the film off of YouTube, and I cropped in an editing software so you couldn't see it, and I exported it and I uploaded it onto YouTube unlisted and shared it with him so we could both watch it separately. And it was a complete nightmare. My laptop died halfway through. It took 5 hours to export because it was an entire feature-length film.
But you did it. But
I did it, and I made it watchable, and it made it so much better to watch.
So the moral of this story is, if you want to spend an enormous amount of money to send your kid to film school, he will not learn how to do a 2-shot for a podcast, but he can landscape YouTube videos to crop out meteor showers.
Yeah.
Why would anyone post the entire movie but only put it on 1/4 of the screen and then put stars?
I have literally no clue why they did. Well, I know why they did it. It was to prevent being copyright striked. Having all of that moving around on the screen prevents the system from understanding that it's messed up.
Oh, really?
But yeah.
That person must have really wanted to post the Panic in Needle Park bad then. So
yeah, seriously, you're. Jeez.
Last week, we had to take the week off because Jackson was faking being sick to get out of some tests at school, and I was in Washington, D.C. Running a race. The movie that opened last weekend, it was still kind of in the shadow of Doctor Strange. The studio seems to be doing that right now. They release one big movie, and then everyone stays away from it and says, listen, Top Gun, give it 2 weeks. Doctor Strange, give it 2 weeks. Jurassic Park is coming, give it 2 weeks. And so they have kind of that down week. And so the only big release last week was a film called Men. I know a few people who have seen this, and I also have seen reviews online. It is definitely a polarizing film. I don't want to say it's love it or hate it. In some cases, it's got it or didn't get it. It is the new film from Alex Garland.
I actually disagree with you on that end.
Oh, okay. Well, I look forward to hearing that. He's the director of Ex Machina and Annihilation. I never saw Ex Machina. I know people love that film. I did not care for Annihilation, but I do kind of understand the style of Alex Garland. He's a bit out there. It stars Jessie Buckley, who you would probably only know from maybe one of the seasons of Fargo. She was also the younger version of Olivia Colman in the flashbacks of last year's The Lost
As well as I'm
Daughter.
Thinking of Ending Things. She was also in the Charlie Kaufman film.
Oh, which one was she?
I'm Thinking of Ending Things. The one with
with Jesse Plemons.
With Jesse Plemons, yeah.
Yes. And then Rory Kinnear, who I don't think anyone would recognize except he's been in all of the Daniel Craig Bond films as the character.
He was in the very first episode of Black Mirror as well, the one where he's the prime minister and has to have sex with a pig.
Oh,
that's the only place I knew him from, at least.
Yeah, I'm not a big. I think he reeks of probably a British theater thespian.
Yeah.
Guy, but Rory Kinnear is in this as well. I'm gonna let Jackson start. Jackson, explain Men. How would you do that?
Men is probably the worst film I've seen all year.
Wow.
I hate this movie not for the reasons that you might think.
Okay.
I have a lot of issues with this movie. I think it's pretty up its own ass. Let me ask you this.
Yes.
What are some character traits of Jessie Buckley's character?
Okay. So Jessie Buckley plays a young woman who's we find out through flashbacks just recently that her husband we're not completely sure, either killed himself or accidentally died, but it was following a very heated and ugly argument where he threatened to kill himself. She goes to the countryside to kind of, we assume, heal from this experience and to get away and to regroup, and suddenly encounters a lot of different male characters in the countryside of England who all are played by the same actor, Rory Kinnear, whether it's the innkeeper, whether it's a bartender, whether it's the local police, whether it's a chaplain, even there's a young kid who they've even done some pretty poor CGI.
Horrific CGI.
Yeah, where they CGI'd his face onto a kid. And so all of these men, and she doesn't seem to for whatever reason, she doesn't recognize that they're all the same looking person, and we start to encounter what I would best be described as men who torment her on different levels about different things, whether they ignore her, whether they condescend to her, whether they blame her, or whether or not they look down on her.
Yes.
That's the gist of the story. When it goes from there, I couldn't start to explain to you.
What are Jessie Buckley's character traits in this film, besides her being a woman who has gone through trauma?
I think I know where you're going. I did not care for her performance. I found it one-dimensional, so I'm not really sure I could tell you exactly. I couldn't answer that question. I think that's the point, is that she didn't really have a lot of traits.
The point is that there aren't any character traits that she has. She is a woman who has gone through trauma, and that is it.
Yeah.
This is a film that was written by Alex Garland, who is
Yes.
a man. And the point that this film was trying to make is that men do bad things.
Yes.
And we know.
Mm-hmm.
Alex Garland, we know. This was probably the most performative, over-the-top, unnecessary, just virtue signaling bullshit I've seen in my entire life. I think that Alex Garland should be ashamed of himself for writing a film this bad. I can't even begin to tell you the issues I have with this. It's just, it's so... What is this film trying to say?
Men are bad. Men
are bad. Men can be bad and do bad things, and we live in a patriarchal society. Yeah, we know, man. I understand that not everyone understands that, but what kind of Republican shithead do you think is watching Men right now? Nobody is. It's people like me that go watch A24 films. It just bugs me so much that he has this high and mighty perception of, oh, I can make this great commentary on how men condescend women. We know. This is the most unnecessary piece of art I've seen in a long time. I think that the way he wrote the characters, especially the female lead, is disgusting. It just gives no leeway. I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. I hate this film. I hate it so much.
I could tell you're very passionate. I love the passion in you on this one.
And that's why I said I don't think it comes down to you either get it or you don't get it, because I do get it.
Right.
I think that we all got it. Men do bad shit to women a lot.
Well, when I say get it or don't get it, the last 20 minutes of the film Jackson.
It's weird. Yeah.
Yes. I think we all get it up to the last 20 minutes. And without giving it away, the last 20 to 30 minutes, the final act, gets extremely odd. There's a lot of religious, iconic symbols. There's a lot of things having to do with rebirth. There's a lot of questions about whether or not her husband has been part of this the entire time. There's questions. There's just it gets very weird. For lack of a better word, it gets very, very weird. I would say that, Jackson, I had the exact same reaction to you, or as you, during those last 20 minutes. I was with it. I was actually with it until then. I didn't quite understand why it was a horror film necessarily, because I did find it a little eerie and creepy. All the stalkery stuff with the naked guy and the window shots I thought were effective. I was not off board. I wasn't ready to jump ship on Men until that final act. Then I felt we went to really, really pretentious filmmaking. And, And I sat there watching that whole sequence. Let's just call it the Rebirth Sequence, and it was so long and so
drawn out,
so repetitive that I went, "What are you exactly trying to do? This is not entertaining. It's not explaining anything, at least not to me." I mean, I guess I kind of get it, but
there's no character development, and there's like the final act. It's just weird things happening,
right?
And I don't know.
I will tell you this: the main redeeming thing for me, though, was Rory Kinnear's performances. I think did enjoy them.
Both did good. I think Jessie Buckley did a good. I just don't think she was given
much to do. Yeah.
And I will say this too. I think that Jessie Buckley is a phenomenal actress. I think she picks the worst roles because she's 0 for 3 on movies that I hated. The Lost Daughter. I sure as hell hated this, and I was not a fan of I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
Yeah, she's kind of the it girl for art films right now. Rory Kinnear was the I can't recommend the film, but Rory Kinnear was one of the redeeming. I would say Rory Kinnear's performances is all the different men. It's very interesting, at least as a fellow actor, to watch all the choices that he makes to make them subtly different. The Jeffrey is hilarious, the guy who's renting the Airbnb to her, and I do feel I was eerily creeped out with all those sequences in the woods and the guy who is stalking her as a naked man who's also obviously Rory Kinnear showing up. I thought this is kind of an effective setup for a horror film. I said, as far as a horror film goes, I'm vested. I'm a little nervous. I'm looking around corners. But boy, does it just shoot itself right in the face with the ending.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, I will say this does not save the film in any capacity for me, but I think the cinematography was very good.
Yeah, it looks.
I thought it looked great.
All of his films look beautiful. Annihilation was a beautifully shot film. I just didn't care for that one either, but he definitely's got a great team on him.
I just don't understand what happened where Alex Garland felt it was necessary that the world had to hear his opinion on Men, on why it's so out of his ball field, and it's so obvious that he just has so much that he... Why was this his film to make? It doesn't make any sense to me.
I have not seen anything online, and I'd be curious. We'll have to look off the air, but I wonder if he's written or done an interview about it. I don't know. He's never been much of a explain his films kind of guy, and all of his films, Ex Machina and Annihilation, probably need some explanation at some point on exactly what he's going for. So I don't know if we're going to get a lot on. I'm sure we're going to get that mumbo jumbo of, well, what do you think it was about? Or, oh, that's interesting that you think that because someone else isn't necessarily wrong. Sometimes I hate that. I hate that when you go, what is this movie trying to say?
Yeah.
And you go, well, what did it say to you? I didn't ask that. I asked what you wanted me to take away from it.
Right, what was your intention?
And then you get those filmmakers who were like, I'm like, you made the damn thing. Tell me what the hell's going on. The last 20 minutes of Men may be some of the most pretentious filmmaking and over the top and pointless 20 minutes you'll spend.
Overly graphic for no reason.
Graphic for like, let's just let the special effects team see what they can do to gross the viewer
cut his arm
out.
in half. Why not? Cut his arm in half right down the middle, and just because why not?
But,
well, I mean, I guess that did come back in the end, which was. I mean,
right.
I don't know. I also do think that filmmakers need to stop doing the whole deep fake thing until that technology gets better, because it just looks horrible on every try, I think.
Yeah. He's talking about when they superimpose
when they superimpose his face
on
onto
another face.
a kid.
And for a kid, it doesn't work at all.
Not even close, because the proportions are different. It's hard to do.
Yeah. Unless that was the point. Maybe he said, don't make it too good because I want it very clear that that's his face. Maybe they did a pass and he went, I can't tell that's Rory, the actor.
Either way, I think it took me out of it a lot. I was like, oh, I'm watching the movie.
It's a sad review for me because unlike Jackson, I did not hate the first hour of this film. I actually loved watching both the performances. I thought the cinematography was fantastic, and I was vested. I was creeped out, and I was vested, and I was a little on the edge of my seat. And this is a good scary film, and it's effective. It literally does itself in for the last 20-25 minutes. So a film that was easily on the way to being a good solid B for me drops to a D+. You got to stick the landing. It's a D+ for me.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know where you're going with this.
Look, I think Alex Garland needs to have some serious reflection on where he's going as a filmmaker. I think that he needs to really look back and understand why he's making this movie and why it's his place to talk about these issues. And I think he needs to talk to women. Like, maybe just talk to women about what you're doing.
Well, let's not go crazy here. Let's not start listening to women.
Let's not start listening to women here.
Let's not listen to women when it comes to women's issues.
And this is why I was so nervous going in, is because I had heard some of the issues. I was a little standoffish about it. I was like, look, anyone can make a movie. Like, anyone can make a movie, and I don't think it's. So I went in with an open head, and immediately I was like, I understand everything you're saying right now. Alex Garland's Men, 1 out of 10. What the fuck, guys? It's just wow.
So Jackson, you have at this point in time do you feel at this point in time you have seen the best film of 2022 and the worst film of 2022? We already know that you are a huge fan of Everything Everywhere for...
it's my favorite movie.
It's Everything Everywhere for Everyone.
Everywhere All at Once.
All at once. Everything Everywhere All at Once. And you saying Men is the worst film you've seen this year.
It would be very, very difficult to top Everything Everywhere All at Once, and it would be very, very difficult to stoop below Men.
Wow,
that's my opinion as of right now.
Wow, but we'll see. I mean, you never know.
It's
just the end of May. I mean, we got a lot of months, but we're gonna remember that.
There's a lot of movies to see. No, I'm not scratching it off. I'm just saying that someone would have to drop a turd of a movie to stoop below this.
Wow, will we see something worse than Men, and will we see something better than Everything Everywhere, all at once? Look, all right, the gauntlet's been dropped. This is the PGN podcast. Regan Burns and Jackson Burns. I pick Panic in Needle Park every month. We each pick a film for each other, a classic that we have not seen or a film that we've heard huge buzz on. It doesn't have to be an old film. Could be something new. It is Jackson's turn to pick a movie that I guess we'll probably watch together. I mean, unless we have busy
we should.
Unless we have busy schedules, which means we'll sit there in silence and not show anything. What if we watch a comedy together? What if you pick a comedy and we're watching that together?
Don't want to laugh.
And what if I hate it, but I'm like just laugh,
just to throw laughing, you off,
just to throw you off, and like, God, how is Dad enjoying this?
That'd be so funny.
Yeah, because it's easy to keep a poker face if we're both watching something slow or artistic or dramatic. But all right, buddy. What do you? I asked you. I reminded you this week, like, hey, have a film ready to pick, and you were like, no, I got one in the chamber, Dad. I've had one for a while.
No, yeah. So I I know you're gonna be like, "Oh, this sounds like some pretentious film."
Oh no! Why are you?
No!
This
Listen to me. Listen to me. This is a director that came up in the same group as Cuarón, who I know you love. He did Children of Men.
Yes.
That's one of your favorite movies.
It is one of my favorites.
He's often grouped together with him, and also the guy who did Birdman. I think those three are very commonly referenced together.
Somebody. It's Alfonso.
No, Alfonso Cuarón. Alfonso's Cuarón's.
Oh yeah, that's Cuarón.
I can't remember what.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a movie that I've seen referenced a lot.
Referenced where? In one of your crazy film classes or online?
No, in actually classes the non-film related classes. I think my Black Mirror teacher brought it up a couple times, and I've just seen it thrown around a lot.
Okay.
This is a director I've been interested in for a long time. I've only seen one short film that he did.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy about it, but I'm willing to give him a second chance because it's hard to judge a filmmaker off their first short film. This is a movie that I believe was written by this filmmaker after he read a book, I believe some religious text about life after death.
Oh my God! What are you doing to me, kid?
And
what are you doing to me?
No, listen to me.
How about Can't Buy Me Love with Patrick Dempsey? Can we watch that one?
We can't do that. We can't.
Gremlins.
I'm making you listen.
Gremlins 2. Did you ever see Gremlins 2?
Gremlins 2. I haven't seen Gremlins 2 actually. That's so funny you bring that up.
What are you doing?
But the movie that I'm picking for this week is Enter the Void, directed by Gaspar Noé. Enter the Void.
Enter the Void by Gaspar.
Directed by Gaspar Noé.
You know the object of this podcast is to get people to listen, right? You know that, right?
I know you think this is some underground, and to some degree he's not the most popular guy on the planet, but this isn't some like bottom of the rack type
Have
thing
you investigated that this film can actually be uploaded or streamed somewhere?
Yes, I have, and I'm going to triple check that right now just to be sure.
Right.
But
while he's triple checking this horrific sounding film by Gaspar Noé, that sounds
Gaspar Noé.
Gaspar Noé. Enter the Void. What is the Void?
We can rent it on Amazon.
Is it about mountain climbing? What is
I'll
that?
read you the synopsis.
Oh no, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna know immediately. I'm gonna give it a grade. I'm gonna give it my predict. This is my prediction of what I'm gonna grade it from.
That's fine, but you'll be judging a book by its cover. And
all right,
I will. Okay. The psychedelic tour of life after death is seen entirely from the point of view of Oscar, a young American drug dealer and addict living in Tokyo with his prostitute sister Linda. When Oscar is killed by police during a bus gone bad, his spirit journeys from the past, where he sees his parents before their deaths, to the present, where he witnesses his own autopsy, and then to the future, where he looks out for his sister from beyond the grave.
D-.
You're an insane person.
D-.
That's okay.
That's
right,
my prediction. D-.
Well, we'll see then. That's the point. Listen. You brought some classic Pacino, and I'm going to bring some classic foreign stuff.
Okay. Here's my review for Enter the Void on our next episode. Okay. D-. Only reason I didn't get it an F is because they kept it in focus.
The first AC did their job. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right.
The entire film was in focus, so I'm going to give it that. We'll see. Not that people won't be rushing next week to hear our takes on it. What year did that come out?
This is more recent, I think. This is like, I'm going to say 2009.
2009. All right. So Jackson has picked
new movie come out last year, I think,
our film Enter the Void, which I will somehow try to stomach through this week on the Amazon Prime. And a reminder that next week we're going to be turning to you guys as well, because it's your turn to pick a fantastic film, as long as it's not by Gaspar Noé.
Gaspar Noé. That's how you say it.
Gaspar.
Throw some respect on his name, damn it.
That is not my dog.
Listen, you were the one who, when I was about to go to film school, like, you need to watch more foreign films. Like, foreign films are important.
I know, but like Cinema Paradiso or The Seventh Seal, don't pull this stuff out that's like underground. What is it? Tokyo?
It's not even that underground.
Oh my God! All right, we're gonna watch it. I'm just reminding our audience to please pick something completely not like that. The following week, we're gonna again please post on our YouTube channel, our TikTok or our Instagram, or message us on any of those programs and just say, hey, please watch this great film you should have seen. And of course, you are more than welcome to recommend some absolutely horrific ones too. But good luck. I think the bar has still been set high with The Apple and a very close second, Prayer of the Roller Boys. But on top of that, once again, big movie this week, Top Gun Maverick. I think you know our take on that now. They're not really releasing a whole lot next week. So our new films next week, we're going to go out to the theaters and see the new David Cronenberg called Crimes.
Super excited for this.
Crimes of the Future. Fantastic. Jackson's very excited. I love Cronenberg's last two movies. This one does not quite look up my alley, but I'm going to go in with an open mind. It's Viggo Mortensen, Kristen Stewart, and some French actress that I've recognized from something.
And I was telling my dad this earlier, but this might be my first Cronenberg movie. I said I'm going to try to watch either Eastern Hastings or History of Violence before then, but
Eastern Promises. Eastern
Promises. I mean, not Eastern Hastings.
Yeah. Cronenberg's always hit or miss with me. I love some of his films, and some of them I absolutely despise. Crash being one of them. One of the worst films ever, by the way, Crash. So we're going to check out Crimes of the Future, and at one point, Jackson and I will probably pound a few hard ciders, and then just for giggles, maybe go see Bob's Burgers, because I don't watch I don't watch cartoons, but
you're so dismissive of animation. That makes me so upset. But I know that Bob's Burgers isn't exactly fine art, but even the Miyazaki stuff, you're never respecting of it. Respect the craft. Come on.
All right, so let's. That's the deal. We're going to watch Crimes of the Future, and then we're gonna pound a few hard ones, and go see Bob's Burgers.
Go see Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a drunk review of Bob's Burgers next week, Crimes of the Future, and something called Enter the Void. Also, a little teaser here. Not next week, but the week after. Jackson doesn't even know this. It's the return. Father-son trivia off. So you got 2 weeks, Jackson, to start looking for.
All right.
Three.
All right.
Three.
Don't go. I don't want you going. Hey, I don't want you going easy on me this time, but I also don't want you pulling that dumb shit from the last question.
Who won the first round? That would be me. I won the first.
We tied. Technically, we tied.
No, because you didn't get the last answer.
We tied. No, we tied. I was winning.
That was for the win.
And then I didn't get the last answer.
You're right. It was one to one. You would have won had you gotten the last.
Had I gotten myself canceled and kicked out of school and fired from any job I wouldn't have in the future.
Yeah. So just a little teaser. 2 weeks from now, I want to give him a little more time to think about it. See if he can really come up with.
Yeah, definitely.
Do his research for that. That's what we do here on the PGN podcast, and we promise you we're going to do everything we can to drop a brand new episode every Sunday like we promised. Anything else, Jackson? Are you excited about anything? We saw some new trailers. I think for me, Nope. I'm waiting for the Jordan Peele one.
I'm waiting for Nope. I think Bodies has potential. I can't get a read on it yet if it's going to be good or not.
Yeah.
That one with also the same thing with the one with the guy from Grand Budapest Hotel. I'm blanking on his name. It's the
Adrian
one
Brody.
No. It's the one with it's like a chef and he's cooking for people.
And Ray Fiennes, The Menu.
With Ray Fiennes, yes, The Menu. That looked interesting, but I'm not sure if that's going to be good or not. Still, it's not. Yeah. I can't get a read, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll have to see him eventually. So.
Yeah, and of course, there's some kind of big dinosaur movie coming up. I'm sure we'll get to that in a couple weeks as well. Some little tiny thing. I don't know, prehistoric time travel. I don't know what it is. Dinosaurs chasing people.
It's dinosaurs.
There's been no press on it whatsoever.
None at all.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for us today. I'm getting ready to drive down to San Diego with your daughter to take her to a concert. What are you going to do?
Orange County, because I know some people watching this will know who that is.
I'm taking my daughter to see.
What am I going to do? I'm going to watch a movie. I've been doing this thing lately. I have this big, massive list of movies, and it spins a wheel and it picks a random one that I want to see.
Okay.
So tonight I'll be watching Requiem of a Dream. So I'll be.
Oh wow! Great.
In a pretty happy-go-lucky film I've heard. So good luck to me.
I watched Requiem for a Dream once. And I will never watch it again.
It seems like that kind of movie, yeah. I have to watch it. I feel like I have to watch it. So
you're going right from Panic in Needle Park to Requiem for a Dream.
That's what I know. I was just thinking that too. It was random. I picked it randomly. It wasn't like a. It was like a
Jackson,
chance.
How about Meatballs with Bill Murray?
Meatballs with Bill Murray.
Yeah,
is that an actual movie?
Yes, it's about a summer camp, and he runs it, and all the counselors get into crazy trouble and shenanigans.
I think I'll pass on that one.
It's such a good movie. It's such a good movie.
Is it actually?
It is.
I can't tell if you're
it is. No, I'm dead serious. Well. Now, here's the thing. It was a fantastic movie when I was 16.
Right.
I have no idea.
Hold up.
I have no idea.
We'll see.
I have no idea.
All right.
Please watch something that's not a complete downer.
I know. I feel bad because I'm Enter the Void's probably not going to be exactly the happiest film.
Oh my god! That's why we have to go see Bob.
You picked Panel at Needle Park. You picked Panic at Needle Park, which was pretty downer.
But at least people had heard of it. All right.
Okay. Well.
All right. Bob's Burger on Liquor next week.
Someone in the comments save my ass and tell me you've heard of this movie and I'm not a crazy person.
Nobody is going to save you on that one.
That's messed up.
Hey, I'm Regan Burns. You are?
I'm Jackson Burns.
Thanks for tuning into the PGN podcast. See you guys next time. Love you, buddy.
Love you too.